Before we start the video, I just want to ask for prayers for Damar Hamlin, his friends, and his family. I'm also going to leave a link in the description. It'll be the pinned comment as well to his foundation, the Chasen M Foundation. It helps kids that were the hardest hit during the pandemic. So if you'd like to support that, go right ahead. The 2023 receiving class doesn't have the same level of talent we've become accustomed to over the last few seasons, but I guarantee you that this draft class does have some diamonds in the rough. And with the Senior Bowl quickly approaching, here are my top 10 wide receivers for the 2023 NFL Draft. And what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. There's a lot of talented receivers in this class, and I'm not going to hit all of them in a top 10, but let me know who are some of your favorites that weren't included here. But without further ado, let's get to number 10, Rasheed Rice. One of my guys in this class, one of my favorite prospects in this class. He is a former 3-star recruit from the 2019 class, sits at 6'2", 203, had a banger season this year, going for over 1,300 yards and 10 tutties. He was a third team All-American last year, or All-AAC, and he is first team this season. And let me tell you, man, I really like this guy's frame. I really, really do. He's got long arms. He knows how to high point the football. In general, he is just a do-good receiver. I think he could be a high-end possession receiver in the NFL, and he's a guy that knows how to create after the catch. He knows how to eat contact. He knows how to put on a slick move to get a few extra yards. I love the balance he shows, and again, man, just that ability to absorb hits. I mean, he just looks like a real good receiver. He's shown the ability to play on the outside and in the slot, so it gives you that type of versatility. He's shown strong hands at the catch point, especially when you consider that back in 2020 his drop rate was 17%. It's gotten a heck of a lot better since, just gonna say that. However, coming from SMU, he doesn't have exactly the best route tree, so he's gonna be limited in terms of the routes that he can run, or at least off the bat. And it's not like he's the most explosive route runner either, and that's kind of the thing missing from his game. He's not really an explosive or a dynamic athlete. He's just, hey, me, good receiver. I will catch ball. I will get yards after the catch. He could end up being an exceptionally good slot or even wide receiver too. And I think, we're still, for all intents and purposes, in a passing league, or at least a league that likes to have a bevy of great weapons. And I think adding a guy like Rasheed Rice somewhere on day 2, I think would be a very good addition. Now, on to my number 9. We got Rome Odunzi. There we go. I said I would practice the pronunciation before the video, and I didn't, so hopefully I didn't butcher it. But he is 6'3", 201. That's a very sexy size. I'll just say that. I'm not 6'3", 201. But if you're looking for a receiver, you see that size, you're like, I like that. Tell me what he can do for me. Well, this cat, he's got nice length, he's got nice size. He combines that also with really good speed. He is very explosive off the line of scrimmage. He's explosive out of his breaks. He with quick strides, he gets to the stem of routes real quick. He has sauciness to put defenders in a blender, and I just love that, man. He's a good route runner, especially in tight quarters. His speed, fluidity as a separator is just gonna be very, very appealing. He literally has catch me if you can type of speed, and he has that suddenness and patience is the word I'm looking for. During the route, he knows how to fluctuate his speed during the routes. Like, he's a guy that can play on the boundary. He could also play in the slot, so there's really a lot to like about him. But in terms of true ball skills, he is a bit of a body catcher, and he doesn't consistently go after the catch point. He was 7-23 on contested catches throughout his career. He does sometimes play tall at the line of scrimmage, and he could probably do a better job of sinking his hips during the early parts of the route. And play strength, he could probably be a bit better when getting off the line, having to fight through press, though he did play a majority of the time on the outside this year. So I don't think it'll be that too much, or at least be too much of a worry. But again, with these day one, day two guys, you kind of want to nitpick. But overall, you're getting a really good receiver here. And then we have Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Got him as a top 75 player as well. 6 foot, 185. If speed kills, then you're as good as dead when it comes to Hyatt. He is a blazer. He's reported at run up to 4.3 speed. Some say he might run even better. So that's something to watch out for. He explodes off the line of scrimmage and out of his breaks. Has some nice double moves to him as well. He tracks the ball exceptionally well in air. Shows good body control adjusting to the catch. Like, this isn't just a track star playing receiver, which you kind of point to some guys. Like, you look at Anthony Schwartz, who was essentially a track star playing receiver. He goes in the 3rd round to the Browns, doesn't really do, or at least hasn't done much throughout his career. Danny Gray, a guy who had that speed, but you could tell, okay, he's a bit more of a football player, but he had some ball skill issues. Still goes in the 3rd round. I think he probably is better than those guys. I really, really do. Like, if he could put on, like, honestly, like, his weight's not that bad, but like, physicality isn't his game. Like, if guys get physical with him during the route, then kind of it knocks off the timing, and it really does hurt. I really don't think he truly knows how to play against physicality, and given that over 90% of his career snaps have come in the slot, I'm kind of curious, how will he handle press in the NFL? So that physicality, that contact, that is a big concern of mine, because then we're probably looking at a vertical slot guy. Because like he's also a guy that hasn't really had to do much after the catch, because he's typically targeted down the field. He also, like, the ball skills, I will say, are much better than Danny Gray. However, he still occasionally catches with his pads. Don't really like that. But his drop concerns aren't nearly as bad as they were, I think, with Danny Gray, at least in my opinion. So, had a banger year, 15 tutties. He had over 1,200 yards. So, yeah, me likey Jalen Hyatt. On to the next, we have Parker Washington. This is actually my guy, personal favorite of mine. Unfortunately, injuries have shut him down for most, or at least the second half part of the year. But this dude is a running back playing receiver. Truly is. He's a very subtle athlete with good shiftiness, good explosiveness. He shows off strong and reliable hands at the catch point. He does a good job of switching gears throughout the route, and he adjusts very well to the ball in air. As you could honestly go to that Ohio State game this year and be like, wow, man, yeah, this guy knows how to attack the catch point. He's got exceptionally strong hands. He's also a very physical run blocker, and I love what he does after the catch, because he can be hard to bring down. Now, he lacks ideal height and length for the position, and for the most part, majority of his time is spent in the slot, at least over his career, which is fair to say. Okay, then is he going to kind of probably be a slot only guy? And even if he is, I appreciate what he can do. Now, I think this year kind of robbed him of kind of like proving that he isn't a guy that just runs hot or cold. Because like in 2021, you could definitely tell that this was a guy who ran very hot and cold, and not just like, and I mean in terms of what he can do after the catch, because this dude could rattle off missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle. But then there are times where he just goes down, and I felt like he was having a really good season, and then he gets hurt, and we don't get to see him for the second stretch of the year, and which leads me to believe he probably ends up going 3rd round. He might even slip to early day 3, but like this guy just has a game I absolutely love. I got him as top 75 prospect. Big fan of Parker Washington. Next on the list, Jackson Smith-Njigba here at number 6, and boy, I could already hear the comment section. He is 6'1" and 200 pounds, listed via Ohio State. Was limited to only 3 games this year with a hamstring injury, and really didn't play much in those games because he was trying to nurse the injury, and they eventually just shut him down. Now, what we saw from 2021, we know what this guy is. At least we assume he was going to be used in the same facet this year because, well, almost all of his snaps did come in the slot. The very few he played this year, majority were in the slot. But this dude's a shifty athlete, very smooth. He is a menace after the catch. Like back in 2021, 19 forced missed tackles, and like legit, he is like a running back with the ball in his hands. He goes from pass catcher to ball carrier real quick, real fluid. He tracks the ball pretty darn good in air. He shows good focus, strong hands. He only had a 5% drop rate back in 2021, which that's the thing. We're pulling a lot of this from the eval from 2021 because we haven't really seen him this year. Very crisp route runner, one of the best blocking receivers in this class. However, a lot of what he does, again, has been in the slot. Like over 88% of his career snaps have come in the slot. If there are going to be questions about his speed, I think he's going to kill the explosive and agility drills out the water. Hopefully we can perform them. It kind of depends on the extent of this hamstring injury, right? And that's something that's going to also have to be tested at the combine. Like, do we have like a soft tissue issue going on here? Because we've seen many receivers kind of have injury concerns in the NFL because of a hammy. I mean, we got Keenan Allen was typically like one of the first ones that come to mind. So question is he a guy that can play on the outside? And even if he doesn't, I think that skill set's going to be exceptionally valuable for a lot of teams, even if what he does is going to be primarily out of slot. We've seen Cooper Kupp do that very effectively. Like, there's offenses that could literally center their best pass catcher in the slot. It'd be like, that's A-okay, that's fine. So that's going to be the thing. And how he tests, honestly, if he tests under 4.6, like, I'm cool. Like, I'm like, that's fine. That's how fast I expect him to be, like a 4.55 guy. If he ends up faster, then that could do a lot for his draft stock and at least his projection when it comes to being an outside receiver. Right now, the biggest things hampering him are the hamstring and can he play on the outside. So we will find out. That's why I have him here. He's still a top 50 guy to me, though. All right. So have that in the comment section on how you disagree with it. It's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. Next, I have Zay Flowers out of Boston College, 5'10", 172. I was talking to Alex from Hail Mary Sports about Zay Flowers because he's a bigger fan of Zay Flowers than I have been. And I went back to watch some of his stuff from this year. And like, he's gotten a lot better at like things I was concerned with. I was like, oh, can he win on the outside? How will he handle physicality? Like, and just like with how quick he is, he just doesn't even let you get a chance to put a hand on him. Like, to like go back to my preseason eval of Flowers, I'm like, he lacks ideal size. More physical corners knock him off his route with ease, and they mess up the timing of plays. He played more on the outside in 2021 and struggled against press. He's likely going to be pigeonholed into the slot in the NFL. Over the 2020 and 2021 season, when he aligned in the slot, he was almost exclusively used in screens, jet sweeps, and end arounds. When aligned on the outside, you're seeing a vertical route and nothing else. His average depth of target on the outside during that span was almost 20 yards. So, like, that was my thing. It was like, okay, this is a guy that won't be able to survive in the NFL on the outside. This season, man, like, you've really seen him be able to get off a press on the outside with very quick feet, and how, like, just the moves and how he fluctuates his speed during the route. And I'm like, man, I remember back in the 2022 class, I was a bit lower on Jahan Dotson. And like watching him play this year, I was like, man, this was a guy I absolutely should have been higher on. And it was kind of right there in the face for me. And I kind of came around to Jahan near the end of the process. And I was like, telling myself, you know, if a guy like that comes around, man, I need to be higher on that. And for me, that guy was who I'm going to talk about next on the list. But I can't talk about that guy and not talk about Zay Flowers, because he's done just that. Do I still think he's going to struggle with physicality? I absolutely do. But this guy, I keep saying this guy, this cat, this dog has a dog in him. He will contest. He will play the catch point. He was like, I don't care if you're bigger than me. I'm big too. I'll get up there. You know, I'm big too, apparently is relative. But like, I like that. I like that dog in him that's willing to be a competitor. So, and I love the fluidity that he goes from pass catcher to ball carrier. Like, he has great vision after the catch. Like, so like, this is me now coming around to Zay Flowers. I still have a bit of hesitancy, but I couldn't include the next guy on my list in the top 50 without really saying, okay, you know what, Zay Flowers, he deserves to be there as well. And my next guy here at number 4 is Josh Downs. I absolutely love Josh Downs. He's one of my favorite receivers in this class. Like, this dude, 5'10", 175, had over 1,000 yards receiving this season, 11 tutties, phenomenal athlete, legit, twitched up, stop-start ability, speed, it's all phenomenal, man. And he was fed early, like on a lot of screens and early in his career, but the way he navigates as a ball carrier after the catch is just very, very good. He doesn't shy away from contact. Again, another guy who has that dog in him, and you also see that at the catch point, making catches in traffic. He's got that dog in him, but it's often hard to force a contested catch with him anyway, because he can separate like a monster. Now, again, the size isn't ideal. He played more on the outside this year. He definitely did, and he did a very good job at that. I know, I'm a Hurricanes fan, and I got to watch it. It sucks being a Hurricanes fan sometimes. It really does. Less of his production this year was schemed up, which, again, we could say that about Zay Flowers. And I kind of have to talk about these two guys in the same vein, because essentially they're similar comps for me. They really, really are, man. Now, drops were kind of an issue back in 2021. I think he hovered around that 10 mark, that 10%. Typically, that's a big red flag. If your drop rate's around 10%, typically it's like I don't want that. And then you gotta look, is this focus drops or is this actual ball skill drops? Like, a guy that I liked a few years ago was Tyler Johnson. A lot of his stuff I thought were focus drops. Ended up being a little bit of both when he made it to the NFL. But like, when you look at, let's see, Josh Downs, I was just pulling up his stuff from this year. Josh Downs. Like, this season, his drop rate is at 3%, so exceptionally good. But again, the prior year, we were at that, okay, it was at 9%, and the year before that is kind of relevant because he only got targeted 10 times. So you like seeing that drop rate go down. You look at a guy like Zay Flowers, where his drop rate is still at that 10%, so it's still awful. So it's like, okay, Josh Downs, that's why I'm gonna lead with this guy. This is the guy that I'm feeling really good about, but a guy with a similar skill set, I can't really deny. So those are my takes on Josh Downs and Trey Flowers. I feel like at this point, at this juncture, one of them's going to be wrong. I guess we'll see who in the future. Next, I got Keyshawn Ford here at number 3. And this is a guy that he's going to sit here as a top 50 prospect, and we'll see if his stock goes down, because there's going to be legitimate questions about his explosiveness. He didn't nearly look as explosive this year. Like, okay, the dude's 6 foot, he's 205, kind of had a down year. Started out rough as he had 2 ankle surgeries before the season, and So the biggest question was, okay, is he still going to be explosive? Because some of the things we really liked about him was just how aware he was about everything going on the field and how he just explodes, whether it's once he gets the ball out of a break, off the line, like he just explodes. He was a missed tackle, like forced missed tackle machine. Last year on only 37 receptions, he had 12 forced missed tackles. I thought he did a really good job of getting off when he faced press and winning with the combination of speed and quicks. Like that was kind of his game. And the question is like, okay, that right ankle, 2 procedures, didn't nearly look as explosive this year. And then on top of that, we have all the turmoil that this year started out with, where, okay, he wasn't really getting targeted in the opener against Florida State. Then he scrubs his media of everything LSU. Then he decides to come back to the team. And still not a focal point of the offense, but kind of is what it is. The team's doing well, and he's cool with that. And then kind of wonky, like, it seemed like he was returning because I guess he enrolled into spring classes, but then he comes out and declares. So everyone thought he was returning, and then a couple weeks later he declares, and everyone's like, what the hell? And I guess it's because he enrolled in spring courses. So I don't know what's up with that. So kind of is what it is. But I think neither Brian Kelly or Butte have really spoken out on it outside of, oh, no, he's declaring. But, yeah, I think for me, it's the combine. The combine is going to be the big question. How does he still look explosive? Can he still look explosive? And I feel like I'm not going to move him down my board until that question is answered. Number 2, Jordan Addison out of USC. 6 foot, 175. And had a decent year. It wasn't exactly the Blicknikoff like he had at Pitt the year prior, but he had a good year. He was kind of slowed by, I believe it was an ankle injury that slowed him down, but ended up not playing in the bowl game either, and we'll see him at the combine. But this dude, exceptionally explosive. He's a game breaker with game-breaking speed. He can stretch the field both vertically and horizontally. He's got this nice he can just put guys in a blender with his quicks and with his cuts, his double moves. Like, he's just good receiver. He's such a fluid athlete after the catch. He bursts well upfield. He has tightrope-like balance, elite stop-start ability, 21 forced missed tackles back in 2021. Again, kind of slowed by the ankle injury, so the numbers weren't nearly as good this season, but we know what he is, and we saw that in bits and pieces up until him getting hurt for USC. Now, a big questions for me got answered when, okay, he's playing a majority on the outside and he's looking good. I like that. Still a bit worried about his release, but not as much as I was going into the year, because he does have a thin frame. He does lack a bit of physicality. More physical corners are going to be able to bully him at the line, knock off the timing of routes and such. His hands have gotten better in time. That is something that has happened. He had drop issues early in his career there at Pittsburgh. Like, if we were going to go to, believe what from... Here we go. He had 11% missed, 11% drop rate, 11.6% drop rate from 2020 to 2021, and then this year, again, pulling from a smaller sample size, but he still got fed the ball a considerable amount there at USC. And that number this year was, here we go, 3%. So he only had 2 drops on the year. That was on 79 targets. So again, you see it, it gets better. You love to see it. You just love to see it. I think he can be a very scary weapon to have for any team. Got a top 20 grade on him as of right now. And my number 1 pick, my number 1 wide receiver, it's Quentin Johnston. I've been fawning all over him since the preseason, when I was talking about how I turned on my first sit down film watch of him was that Oklahoma game where he had, I think it was 3 touchdowns, and he just bullied the secondary for Oklahoma. I had to turn down the lights, had to turn them down low, light the candles, play a little Barry White, and really got in the mood. I had to set the ambiance because it was that type of game. Like, oh my gosh, this is a man playing among the boys, 6'4", 215, had a slow start to the season, but really turned it on. If you didn't know, you should go watch. If you haven't watched yet, I don't know why I haven't, but check out this the semifinal game against Michigan, where he utterly was giving DJ Turner a rough day at the office. Now, I absolutely stinking love this guy. He's a competitor. He wants to win at the catch point. He wants to win each and every route. He wants to win after the catch as well. He is so hard to bring down after the catch because of his size. He's got that ideal length and size to be a prototypical X wide receiver in the NFL. This is a guy that can track the ball exceptionally well. He's got really good speed. I think, like I said, really good. I think he's going to test under 4.5. So I feel really confident about that. Some people probably don't feel like that's going to be the thing. Some people think he's going to be like 4.55, 4.5, or 4.55, 4.6. I think he's going to be like a 4.45. I think that's where he's going to be. Because once he gets going, watch out. Like, this guy's got some good long field speed. But he's not, I wouldn't say, he's not a filthy route runner by any means. He's just not. He could sometimes come off the line a bit high, and there are times where he doesn't get out muscled at the line, but like, guys will get under his pads and will stop him a bit, so he'll have to basically rough him up and get going again. Not the most sudden athlete, but I don't think he needs to be. I really, really don't. And not a guy that you should expect to get separation on the down-to-down basis. That's just not his game. He likes to win at the catch point, and if it's contested, it's contested. Guess what? I'm a competitor. I'm going to win that. This guy's got very good ball skills. I'm a big fan of Johnson. He's going to be my top wide receiver in this class. But let me know who are some of your top guys in this class. Tank Dell just missed the list. Cedric Tillman, Trey Palmer, Marvin Mims. There are a lot of guys that I wish I could have talked about, but I only do a top 10. If you want to check out my full prospect rankings, then check out the Patreon. But it is what it is. Let me know in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.